Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to This Will Be Named Later, a podcast about content creators, the creative culture, if you will. Now, this is a part where I act all professional and tell you what the podcast is about, but I'm not really good at being professional, so let's just keep it a buck. And like I said, we talk about creators from all walks of life, from all mediums, modders, podcasters, video content creators, vloggers, bloggers, everybody in between. But more specifically at this juncture, we're talking about wrestling creators because a lot of us are underserved in the wrestling community, but there's a lot of us creating content and a lot of content that needs to be consumed, that needs to be known about, and needs to be discussed, distributed, and brought forth into a bigger light. So I hope that with this podcast, we can do that and shine a light on some of these people that are making dope ass stuff for the wrestling community. And now a word from our sponsor.
OCWFED is a hybrid pro wrestling EFED that combines elements of role play and competitive play using the WWE 2K franchise. Whether you're on PlayStation or Xbox, OCWFED is a creative outlet for gamers and pro wrestling fans alike. With over 16 years experience producing weekly content and live Twitch events, OCWFED has a thriving community with handlers from all over the world. If this sounds like your cup of tea, come check us out at OCWFed.com, OCWFedTV on YouTube, and OCWFed on Twitch. It's like D&D for wrestling nerds.
Hello friends, my name is JCS, and coming to the stage, the one and only Worldzy, the owner, founder, ruler, grand proprietor of the Worldzy Wrestling Association. This is a good old-fashioned Fed head talk, and if you didn't know what a Fed head means, it essentially means a person who owns and operates a Fed/league on a professional level. That's what me and him do. There's a lot of people that like to pretend that they do what we do, but this is a good old-fashioned conversation, a breakdown of Fed head to Fed head. We learn about the trials, the peaks, the valleys, the tribulations, a lot of hardships, and it's all in all a good conversation with the good brother Evan about the WWA, about Feds, about Twitch, about leading, about work-life family. So good enough that it's a damn two-part podcast. So sit back, relax, enjoy yourself for part one of my conversation with Worldzy, aka Evan, the proprietor of the WWA, Worldzy Wrestling Association, and we find out the answer for the number one question. Is he the number one EFED on Twitch? Stay tuned to learn more. Sorry, I get carried away.
Reactor online, sensors online, weapons online, all systems nominal.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of This Will Be Named Later, a podcast about wrestling content creators. With me today is the owner, founder, ruler, grand poobah of the WWA, Worldzy, and I hope I didn't butcher any of that. We good?
You word for word. I like the what was it, owner? What'd you say, odor?
I said outer owner. I don't know, dude.
I'll take that one. I'll take that instead.
The odor of the odor of the WWA Worldzy.
I am the odor of E-Federations. You heard it first, everyone.
There you go, buddy. So shout out to Mr. Kirby Carry-On. He basically, when I had him on many moons ago, he recommended you. I added you on the Twitter machine. We tweet a little bit, like, just regular tweety stuff. You never accepted the Discord invite, so I was like, I'll just leave it alone for now. And then I figured, since I'm back on it, let me see what's up. And you're like, hey. I'm like, okay. So here we are before the Thanksgiving holiday. So that's good. So we have a bunch of questions. Hope you're ready. Let's get on with the nitty gritty. And since you are a wrestling federation, an E-Federation, what would be considered to you your very first pro wrestling related memory?
Man, wrestling has always been a part of my life. And I don't have a lot of memories. I've done amateur wrestling. I took one too many shots to the head, but
Nice.
my earliest memories was probably like anywhere from 4, 5, 6, and we're talking Attitude Era time with my dad. And some people are like, oh my God, they're captivated by Stone Cold or The Rock, Triple H. My earliest memory actually is of The Brood, and in particular Edge. That was like the most like, who is this? And it sucked me into. Then I fell in love with the Undertakers, the Mankind's, and I followed it in my entire life. Up till about, I would say 2014. I kind of stepped away, and then I really got back into pro wrestling when I started Twitch in 2019.
It's good that you said 2019 because I was actually trying to figure out when you started. So we'll go back to that one. But so being with the Wrestling Attitude Era, it seems like the best kind of the best time. So since you said you're watching it with your dad, I'm assuming you're way younger than me. Actually, everybody I talk to is way younger than me because I'm old and dusty. But it's just, I think nowadays what we have now with the current crop with AEW and the independents going crazy, Impact, and then WWE right now, we kind of have almost similar to what it was back in the day. So I'm glad that there's new fans who can like, oh, this is kind of cool. There's so many different options and choices because you were around the Attitude Era, so was I, and then at one point there was just nothing. It was just WWE and maybe Ring of Honor. So it's a beautiful thing to see. So moving right along, again, EFEDs. What would you say would be your earliest pro wrestling video game memory?
Oh man, I mean, I've played every WWF, WWE, hell, WCW, which some people like to shit on that, but I'm telling you, I still get like a pop. If I had the power to make a video game, and I don't remember, I think it's Thunder and I think it's also Nitro, but when you go to pick a character.
So bold. Yeah.
You pick a character, it's like you go on Hulk Hogan and he's telling you why you're not worthy to be him, like his character. I think that's the coolest thing ever. So I'd say like I've played all of them, but I have played every single one, and it's one of those like there's few games where like I sit there and try to like, well, back then you couldn't. Now YouTube, you can literally find anything, any information you really want. But I would get so excited. I was like, oh my God, Mom, did you see like SmackDown versus Raw is coming in 2 months? Put that on the Christmas list, please. And if I didn't get anything else, all right, I wouldn't have cared. SmackDown versus Raw, Just Bring It had to be in Santa's like stocking or a present wrapped under the tree. That had to be it for me, man. And that was good. Like I loved those games.
See, that was the benefit of those games. It might also be like when you're younger or when we're younger too, because I was a big proponent of Here Comes the Pain. I got the first SmackDown game, but you can just kind of sit there and just create stuff, do your own league stuff, create characters, and just go to town. And next thing you know, it's like, a year later, and then the new game comes out. Like you can do that now with the 2K series, but it's just now there's not time to enjoy it.
I think we're just spoiled back then, man. I mean, you talk about the Monday Night Wars going in, like WCW and Raw, and then later SmackDown. Like, man, that was perfect. But then it's like you had Just Bring It. But man, some people are either black or white on it. They either love it or hate it. Man, the SVR series, SmackDown versus Raw, it's just not only the GM mode, but like the story mode. You can, like you said, you can kind of role play in your mind, maybe with a couple friends, your universe mode. And man, I would just get sucked in for hours and hours of just making, like, I was once called like the Fallen King, where I would align myself with Triple H and I'd be like RVD and I had a tag team and I'd make singlets. Like, you just get so creative in those types of games that, man, we were spoiled.
I mean, like the SVR series is basically when I created the OCWFED because I wanted people to fight each other in a vast world of conquest and competition. But it's not about my horse crap; it's about you. So, speaking of forging your way and creating and whatnot, this is kind of like a 2-part question. So hopefully I get it correct. But so we established you started in 2019. That's correct, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So that being said, my inspiration was competition and whatnot for SVR back in the day online. What was your inspiration for or motivation behind creating the WWA Worldzy Wrestling? It's Worldzy Wrestling Alliance, right? I butchered that.
Association.
Close enough. Yeah.
I like the Alliance. It's funny enough. That was
let me
why?
Just get into it then. Why? Because the logo reminds me of the NWA joint, which I'm assuming is the inspiration, right? The NWA, is it NWA? The old NWA.
It's no, man.
Or is it
WWA?
AWA. There we go.
Yes, that's exactly where it's from.
And that was something whatever Alliance, right?
Yeah, no? It's like Alliance Wrestling Association. I'm probably butchering it, but we're there. All right, we're there, boys and girls.
That's why,
what we're
talking
I
was
about.
Like Alliance. I know it's Alliance. Whatever. Okay, so what was the motivation behind that?
So believe it or not, September 13th, 2019 was my debut stream, and I did not do a single thing with wrestling, anything related. The only thing I had was The Rock was my follower alert, and I would bottle bash, which just take 2 water, like Stone Cold does when he, I just take 2 water bottles when someone subscribed to me. It's a true story, man.
Okay.
It's a little different now because as I've grown, more expensive equipment, higher risk when the water goes everywhere.
Yeah,
so
you can't do that.
So, I play different games. I was Variety, got really big into Halo. But man, it just didn't really do much for me because Twitch is hard to find the niche, and you got to find that one thing that you're good at, and you got to get in the right communities who help people and blah, blah, blah. So I didn't really find my calling, find my niche. And truth be told, since we're here on the podcast, I was borderline embarrassed to be a wrestling fan. And I'm sure there's maybe a degree where you can relate, or there's someone out there listening that can relate. If I'm trying to talk to someone about, oh man, I love wrestling. I love the WWE product. And some people can laugh at you like, oh man, you're talking about that fake crap. Or you're like, oh my God, did you see this joke of what happened? To me, it's embarrassing. Like, I have wrestling shirts, wouldn't wear them out in public. It's like, I'd keep them in the house. But I finally just was like, man, I need to figure it out. So I watched, I think his name is Tangent. Tangent did a TWF, Twitch Wrestling Federation. And his was very just like AI, and he didn't go above and beyond like some of the others do here in the EFED lands. But he just was like, hey, this subscriber, you can pick whatever character you want. You want to be Roman Reigns? Oh, this one has his custom character. Cool. And I was like, man, I wonder if people would actually get behind this. And now keep in mind, I had 0 wrestling fans at the time.
Okay.
What if they made their character like, hey, you can be whatever you want to be. You can be you turn into the Hulk. You can be A, B, C, all the way to Z. But what if it was your custom character and you live out your dreams and you role play as a certain character? I gave it 90 days. And if that wasn't going to work, I was just going to go back working in the gyms because that was what I did for a living. Like, I used to take gyms from the ground that was nothing and build them up. And then once I was done, I'd go on to the next one in theory.
Okay.
So man, people like, I think I averaged like 15 views prior to WWA, and I doubled on day 1. I was like, oh my God, there's a calling here. And then you have all these wonderful people coming in to help, like, oh man, what is this WWA about? You can do this. And then I met people who also did EFEDs, like Kirby. Shout out to him. For referring me, but the dude has been so helpful in so many ways to be like, hey, because I think he was really the first person I met that did a true E-Federation like I did. And he was like, hey man, this will help you if you did pre-recordings. Hey, like, here's a certain way you can shoot these angles, blah, blah, blah. So I give all the credit in the world to him, and we'll go on a little bit later about he and I, but man, there's just so many helpful people. And then I realized that, man, not only is wrestling fans super loyal and they love it and they're passionate, but they get it and they're going to back you no matter what it is you do. So I feel like once I've built this brand and built it into something I still can't believe what it is today, it's insane that people will live and die by the brand they believe in. And I feel like I finally found my calling.
That's good to hear. So was Twitch the first stop, or did you think maybe YouTube?
No, Twitch was usually destination. Again, I saw all the stuff, but I also saw that's YouTube algorithm for you. You saw the dank ops. Yeah. You saw all the big streamers doing the 2K and the universe mode, and I was like, man, that's so cool. Like, I would love to do something like that one day. But actually, I think Kirby was really the first person that I met that was Twitch. And then he also did YouTube as well. And then once I started like diving into the rabbit hole, if you want to say, then I realized, I was like, wow, I could really do this on both platforms if I really wanted to. But yeah, Twitch has always been it for me from the get-go.
Yeah, I find that Twitch, it could work for you or it can't. It all depends on a lot of happy accidents or whatever. So with that being said, on the road to the WWA, did you have any like obstacles you faced with the with the Twitch stuff coming up and whatnot?
Is this prior to WWA?
Well, no, this is actually what, like, when you're getting the ground, like, starting
building
up.
it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, other than growing pains, where I was like, oh my god, I have to build 15 more characters in like 2 weeks, and
so you build all of them?
Oh yeah, every single one. Unless they had the console I was on, it was always me. And again, I think now it's a compliment here. I think what's made WWA so successful is it's a perfect blend of people who are wrestling fans, but also people who love storytelling.
Okay.
They love the role play aspect. It's like that D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, taken to the next level, or any other role playing fantasy you want to believe in. It can come true with our product. So, my biggest mistake, really, like growing pain wise, was doing a collaboration with another EFED that I didn't know 110% about.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You want to save that one for later, because there's always a spot where I'm looking for spilled tea, because that's what I do. I don't do that, but I like finding spilled tea.
Hey, it's your show. You can either we have the segment
polite.
later on, or we could do it right now.
I'm polite. We'll save it for later on, but I'm polite. Watch me forget, because I have head trauma as well. So you know how that goes, man. But it's just, I don't know, man. That's one of the interesting things when it comes to, like, because in layman's terms, you're what's called, I've learned this also, a Fed head. That means you own and operate an EFED or whatever. Or actually, I should say you own and operate a successful EFED, just like Kirby and just like myself. Because like, there's people that are like, oh yeah, I own and run and operate. Yeah, but you don't know what the hell you're doing. So please stop looking at me and talking to me. I'll get to that later. Cause, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, literally, you're speaking to the choir when or preaching to the choir when there's days that there's some people I talk to, and like your feel like that says it all. When you speak to them and about 2 minutes into their conversation, you're like, yeah, I don't think you get it.
Yeah.
I don't think you do.
Yeah, like because I think my issue might be that my I hate to use buzz terms, but branding. I try to specify competition and player versus player as often as possible so people are aware that's what it is. It's not like, AI. It's not a universe mode. It's not, this, that, and the third. This is you role play. Yes, you do videos, you do all that good stuff, but you also have to go on and fight people, and you might get your ass whooped, which is okay. It happens. But there'll be people, they'll see a show like, oh man, I want to join. Can I join? Sure, no problem. This is what you got to do. And then it's like, oh, how do I, like, it's right there. You have to, if you can't log into a forum, and if you can't read a small little handbook, and if you can't, like, be patient and wait, please walk into traffic, leave me alone. I'm too old. I don't have time for this. Please go away. I have HR now just for that. It's dog.
Because I have a Twitch. So if you go to my Twitch channel right now, type !WWA. There is a YouTube video that tells you, and I'm a guy who, and it's my fault where I say something and I expect people will get it and I'm pretty descriptive at times. But I could not be more descriptive in this YouTube video. And it's like 2 minutes long. I'm like, hey, if you want to get a character, there is a character request sheet form in the Discord. I just need to make sure, we have our set ratings. Here's how you rank up. Here's how you rank down, wins and losses. Here's how you do story. Here's where you role play, A all the way to Z. And my favorite point is, they come back, watch the video. Hey, I watched the video, Worldzy. Oh, great, man. Love to hear it. Hopefully we get you in. Okay, so how do I join? What the do you mean? What do you mean? It crawls under my skin. I just was like, okay, so you didn't listen to a single goddamn word I just said.
If you can't listen to that, then you can't be here because you're gonna have. There was a dude who kept bugging me to join constantly. So he finally managed to do an application. So it's a very simple form, basically just making sure that you read what you read, and it's not that long. But then it goes to the part, hey, did you read the handbook? He's like, he goes, do you understand FPR, which is basically fair play rules for online people because you have to fight to prevent cheese? And he's like, I don't know what that is. It's like, get out my face before I slap you in your mom. Get out my face. Get out my, because you can't even take 2 minutes. That's why you're a failed comedian. I'm sorry. I'm venting. I'm sorry. It's like
no, it's good. Get it out.
It's like some of these cats, man. It's just, we'll talk about that later. It's just I can't, man. It makes me frustrated. But I like that command idea because you have a lot of good ideas on your actual stream from what I've seen. Like a lot of when it comes to the Twitch side of stuff, it's like on point, and I'm sure that comes with experience, trial and error, and basically friends to tell you what's what.
Yeah.
Moving right along. Oh, I hate that I have to read questions out, but whatever. Sure, here's a good one. I think this was submitted by my intern Maxwell, so thank you, Maxwell. When starting out, how did keep yourself motivated after putting in a lot of work? So basically what this question means is, when you first started, right, man, you kind of answered it, but when you first started, did you ever find yourself putting in like a ton of work, and then, you know, maybe the end result is like you put in so much effort and then you got like maybe 3 people watching? Or was it off rip, like at least minimum 15? I know 15, I see 15 like, oh, yeah, that's good. But like, did you ever start off, do something really good, like, oh, this is the best, and then you're proud of yourself, you put it out there, and you got like 4 people there just chilling for like 4 hours?
I think like, so long story turned short was, we happy accident comes my daughter. Love my daughter to death, 2 years old, but it changed, and you hear these stories, but man, this one's true to me. Like, it changed my whole perspective. I'm like, man, I'm happy with the gym job, don't get me wrong, but this is, I don't want to say it's not who I am, but it's not what I feel like I'm meant to do. And I'm just turned 27. Like, so I've still got a lot of experience.
Oh,
I've still got a long to go. Yeah. So, it will knock on wood there.
Yeah. No,
but anyways,
you're going to live a long, fruitful life, but I'm saying you got a long way to go.
Yeah.
Good,
so
good.
like,
Enjoy yourself. Bless yourself. Go ahead. Sorry.
I want to figure out I want to do as my calling. And my wife, God love her, I mean, she figured it out. She knew what she was wanting to do. She's killing it. And, you know, shout out to my wife. I love her just as much, but I still was kind of like, man, what is it? So Twitch, like, now again, there is a whole EFED behind the scenes that if you don't do it, or if you're not helping someone to make an EFED, you have no bleeping clue what we're talking about here. And I mean that with all due respect. Like, I do, but
no respect. It's hard work. It's a lot of hard work for very little reward.
Oh man, and I feel like we're gonna get down in a deep hole, so I'll pull myself back. But back then it was like, what my work was just trying to find the community that I felt I belonged in, or grow a community, which is my nation. Like, trying to build this. So there was more, okay, I'm trying to fit in, trying to find the right group of people. And I was like, all right, I took 1 week off Twitch to figure out what it is I was doing, because I went from like 15 average, and then towards that final week, I just started dropping off. Now, it could have been a low week for Twitch, but it was my wake up call, because I dropped everything to give this. I gave it 1 year to figure out, hey, can I grow and make somewhat sustainable money doing what I do here? Because my wife's income, our salary, into what I was making on Twitch, and obviously wasn't much at the time. So I was like, all right, I need to figure it out. So I took 1 week off, tried to build my own brand, which is the WWA, and now I think that I had a little Dusty Rhodes complex where I wanted to do it all by myself. And anyone else, RIP Dusty, and anyone else there that wanted to be helpful, like, it just was so hard for me to trust, but B, just because you get it. Like, your vision is, you're the only person who can see it. Like, you may explain it as articulate as you possibly can, but let's say the editor just slightly twists the angle the wrong way. That's not how you wanted it. And so for me, I burnt myself to the ground recently so the work effort ratio, I think it's all worth it in the end. But there was a time, man, where you would just grind out so much, and then you get a DM right afterwards. So, Worldzy, what's going on with my character? How come I lost 2 matches in a row? I was like, are you kidding me? Like,
or you missed that. Like, son, this just finished running 4 hours ago. You missed. I don't care if I missed it. It's gonna stay broken. It's gonna be a thing now. We're gonna make fun of it in the future. Just please go away. Go walk in the short pier.
The best part is, I feel like sometimes the DMs will come. I mean, maybe within less than 5 minutes
at the worst time.
Yeah, after the VOD ends, right? Like. After the VOD's over with, and I'm dog ass tired, and especially when it's pay-per-view week, because again, I didn't have anyone to help me. I figured out on my own to do this shit.
I got that in the questions too.
That.
See,
yeah,
I'm good at my job.
Look at you.
I'm real good at my job.
So again, I'd be so exhausted. I was like, man, and you just want to put on the best show for the people. And that may sound like a cheesy cliche answer, but it is at the end of the day. You want to please people, make sure they're having a good time and enjoy the product that you're putting out. But I get 1, 2, 3 DMs. Hey, Worlds, how come I lost at the pay-per-view? So, Worlds, here's what I plan on doing for myself in the next month. Not a single, like, good job or can't wait to see you on Tuesday. It's so, Worlds, let's talk about me. And I just was like, man, if I don't walk away, I'm going to yell and it's going to get ugly. So, yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, man. Trust me. It's fun to laugh at now. But when you're like in it right there, you just want to lose your shit, man.
Oh, I've used, see, because what happened is that we just divest of my little history for a slight moment. So when I first started this, I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, much like you. Very, very positive, very upbeat. I'm not saying you won't be down the line. I'm just saying my road's different than your road. As a New Yorker, especially, I'm a gruff, rough around the edges. So I was very trying to be nice and helpful and productive and whatever. And over time, like what had happened is, since I'm player versus player, there came a point where some people tried to usurp on the low, which basically means I had an event coming up and they literally were in a chat trying to screw me over. And thankfully, somebody who's still now, like, he's been with us since 2004 now. He's actually a teacher now. When he joined, he was a youngling, and now he's a teacher, and he has a baby on the way. So shout out to Theo. He was like, oh, you should check this out. And this is like 1 o'clock on AIM, if you remember AIM at all. I don't know, because I'm old. So I joined an AIM chat, and as soon as, like, I show up, everyone's like, everyone's in line. And basically, to sum it all up, is essentially, people aren't grateful and whatnot, and it kind of rubs you the wrong way, especially when you're trying to do the right thing and try to make everything for everybody, then have people try to, stick you. See, you have the benefit that you kind of can control most aspects of the narrative, whereas mine, I would have to kind of, work with people as you're supposed to back then. So yeah, that's another reason why I always preferred competitive versus anything else, because at the very end of the day, right, I can always look at your body of work, mechanic wise, and say, oh, why can't I have a championship? Because you stink and you just got your ass whooped by a guy dressed like a clown in 4 minutes. That's why. Get out of my face. That's why. As opposed to you, where you have to balance. Speaking of, so when it comes to I'll segue to a question that's not on my sheet. So when it comes for you guys with wins and losses, is it just, how does the mechanics of a match actually work in the WWA? Like, is it like AI versus AI, or are you editing videos?
Yeah.
What are
so
you
I'm
doing?
glad you asked. I'm not a PvP like you, but I do think I'm a hybrid that, I think I'm the only one that does it. And if there's someone else that does it, then they're good at editing like I am. Yeah, they're good at editing. I am AI versus AI to a degree. Weekly shows, typically it's not a big deal. Like, because wins and losses has a way to go about it. But if I want to enhance a story, and that is it for me. I want to build the best stories for the best matches to get people invested, because I think at what a time, I don't care if you don't even like wrestling, if you're the meme trollers out there who think wrestling is fake and it's not even real and there's a foam pad underneath like, just shut up. But I could guarantee you, if I build a 3-month story on an arc and get you invested, I guarantee you it'll be the best thing you've ever watched. Whoever it is listening that doesn't believe that wrestling sucks and they don't get it, you don't understand. So I'm all about enhancing stories. So if I don't get the match I want in terms of quality or windfall, and here it is, WWA fans, I will use the controller to dictate the outcome. Now, that does not mean it's a slate on, hey, well, so that way I lost. No, it's because I'm doing it to help enhance a story and build it the right way. Like, if I wanted someone to get injured, quote unquote, well, the most extreme thing you can do is either throw someone off a semi truck or through a burning table or, whatever. Sure, so that can be an out, and I would control that aspect of it. Or, if someone's building a 6-month story, like I was a heel character, which kind of got then that'll segue into the spill the tea moment later on this evening. But once I realized that people wanted to see a heel, and I was like, oh, I can do this, I think. I built a story that was close to a year, about 8 months. Shout out to MexKid, not only great mod, but truly one of my best friends. He and I built this story where he would lose, I would screw him out, and I would use that controller to help at the outcome to build to Worldzy Mania 2, our, our WrestleMania, and he would beat me. Knowing though is I knew I was going to lose in the end, but work backwards with the stories. That's how I always do it. So because then when the payout comes, it's worth that much more in the end. But if there's people who are like, Worldzy's just making me lose, well, I don't have the time of day for you. You're not even worth my breath.
That's the sticky situation, because I know a few of us. I know Kirby does whatever happens. So sometimes we get something great, sometimes we get something not so great. That's the nature of the beast.
I used to do that, and I hated it because I could build a story and then it just ruins it with 2K magic. Yeah, 2K sometimes a hit or miss. See, I'm blessed that for the past, I don't know, maybe since for the last couple of years, like even using 2K19, like the guys and gals I got, it's an eclectic group. They bring it, and a lot of times we get just organic stories. That's the best. That's why I like it, because it's apples and oranges, but we wind up getting these organic stories just because of the nature of how these matches wind up working out, and it leads to shockers and an emotional investment and whatnot. So different strokes for different folks. But see, when you have your stuff, have you ever? Because I guess we could leave that for the spill the tea moment. But like, what you do, I understand it completely, and because you want to put on the best possible story, which makes plenty of sense, especially like in PvP. There's been points when like I wish this guy would have won, because then we can pivot to this. But it is what it is. So you have the option to make that story and to and build it perfective. Go ahead. And that's a full disclaimer right here too. Is I will always edit it, and again we'll talk about it later. The editor I brought on, but I will always control the pay-per-view matches where I would do a controller. You will never tell if I'm using the controller. It is very rare if you do, and the only reason is because you've seen the ins and outs of 2K and you've played it since 2K 14 or 12, whichever one came out or whichever 2K bought out WWE, but you can never tell. So if someone thinks it like I want it to be authentic and fluid, I don't want it to be like because I've had this conversation with mods before. Yes, I use a controller, but you can tell when the AI is the AI and someone is manning the ship. Yeah. Because then it's like you're kicking super fast and you're punching super fast. You can immediately go to a grapple and A, B, C, D. Oh my God, the guy's reversing everything. No, like I'll take shit and I'll also give shit. So it's like it's a back and forth trade-off to blend in. But I'm like, all right, no, this guy's built to a monster. This is the man I want to develop new talent that come into the WWA, watch all the streams, role play, they believe in it. And then he's going to have his Cinderella moment, but then 2K will just bury him in like 30 seconds. Yeah, and I'm like, nah, I can't do that. That's what I swapped over. I was like, it just sucks the air out of me, man. I'm just like, all right, whatever.
It's the nature of the beast sometimes. Yep. So, like again, there's no, honestly, I used to be very bougie and, my way is the best way, but over time, I've had podcasts like in years past where I actually spoke to, call guys, EFED guys or whatever, building my way up to understand that, it might not be per se my cup of tea, but I can understand the, what at the end of the day is the amount of work and persistence and quality and content that you put out. So, it's not my point to be like, be the provocateur of whatever. Like there's a dude called Lee Boy CPW. His shows run semi-regularly. He works on the PC version. He has a book for like he does kind of like you. He kind of has a book of how he wants everything to go. His shows aren't generally super duper long. They'll be like maybe 30-40 minutes, but it is really close to wrestling. Like, and that I find, but I'm not gonna pretend to go on your stream like 24/7. But I've seen what you do, and honestly, I couldn't tell a controller either. I'll check out some of the matches. Like, okay, I get it. And then you have the stream content. So with the stream content, pivoting a little bit, I think you already said it, but like, what would be your best way to describe, the WWA? Would you call it like how would you say? Because you already said hybrid, but you want to expound on that, or what do you want to say? What's the sales pitch for
it? Like in terms of like what we are, yeah.
But you can't say You can't say D&D because my thing is D&D for wrestling nerds. You can't take that from me too. All right, you got the number one EFED. I need D&D. We got to come to some type of agreement. Just got to let that go.
We talk backstage, Mr. Number One of PvP. All right. I think we're just that hybrid, and I love what others do if they do AI versus AI, because it is up to them to build their own story, meaning whoever owns their, who their character. But it's also that way they're free of getting the shit at the side, where you get those DMs, Worldzy, how come you didn't do this? Or how come I lost? I don't understand here. Because, man, I have had in season 1 and 2 the same conversation to the point now that now we've got like the chain of command, because if I have some Joe Schmo just trying to be like, Worldzy, how come I can't win a championship? And I knew where it was that's coming now, but like back then it's like, man, do you realize though Rowdy Piper never won the heavyweight title, but yet he's still talked about as the legend? Jerry the King Lawler, like all of these greats didn't win a world title. Like, you can be a huge megastar and not have the world heavyweight championship. It's all about how you build your character and how you build stories around you. And
pretty much.
Yeah. And we'll talk about it, but I have a creative team that works with other people to help those who don't have who don't know how to go a story, who don't know how to go a proper way, and help with actually making video promos, which I take such pride in with my community, making video promos. Like, shout out to every single one that's cut an audio or a video promo. Like, you guys enhance the WWE to make it is what it is today. But man, it's not all about the championship. So if you can build the right story, man, that's what matters.
That's how it's supposed to be, man. See, the thing is, like, in my spot, when you get the chance, like, in the old days, most people didn't want, like, the players who I wanted to be champion didn't want to be champion because they know what comes with the responsibility of being a champion. And in the thirst buckets, I won't be champion, I won't be champion. So it's always the same group of clowns that I have
a giving community too. Once they win the championship, and it's not like they get bored, but then they see an up-and-comer and they're like, Worldzy, I want to drop the title to him. I just really think he should be like the new face of Live, a breakout and Havoc, kind of like Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
Like, I want him to be the face, or, hey, Worldzy, she's really gone the up and up. Like, I would love if maybe we have an angle with her and she takes the title. Like, it's a very giving community, but then there's times I'm like, no. Like, you need to hold it a little bit longer. I've got some plan for you. Hold on. Just wait.
Prestige. You've got a little bit of prestige. It's only been a month. It's only been 2 months. You gotta build
exactly.
Relax.
I appreciate how kind you are, but just hold on. All right, I got to make you credible to build this story. So
they just want the click, the what's it? They just want the notch on the bar. All right, we're good. I'm done. All right,
yeah.
I'm the 4-time whatever champion. My favorite thing was back in the day watching, like, looking at some of these EFEDs. I would clown on because, like, I would see somebody. So here's my, like, a pet peeve, and I'll say it now. Like, my pet peeve a lot of times with a lot of communities is, like, you'll have the owner being like the grand master champion. I mean, it's fine to be like once or whatever, but just to be like, the end boss, like, no. So that, like, I would go around looking. There'll be one. I remember one dude. I wish I had. I would link it to you. Me and my friend went. We were just tolling around. This dude had like 24-time world champion, 17-time whatever. I'm not even joking. 2-time Hall of Fame champion. Like,
there's the side there, yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like, I'm like, dog.
Oh man, I love it. I love the messages too. Like, so we're coming up in March or April, I think, and it'll be Worldzy Mania 3, and they're like, Worldzy, I haven't won at Worldzy Mania yet. I want to. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, man? I've got more losses in my rare one-on-one matches than I have. Like, it's not what it's if you can build the story. Like, I don't care. Why should it matter if you win at the grand stage of them all? Like, just for your own ego, for your own, like you said, notch on the belt, just so you can have it. Like, no,
just for the notch.
Yeah, that's the thing. Some people that want to put themselves in the main stage, it's great. And I'm not like trying to even relate to a Vince McMahon here, but it's like, I would rather give them the spotlight. And then, like, if someone really wants to work with me and I would like to work with him, I'll pop out and do this long story with them if they're understanding. Hey, when you're working with me, it's not for the title, A. And B, we're going to go a long 6 months because that's how great stories are made of. I hate the new era where it's like,
jumping around.
Hey, yeah, let's get to a story. Let's build it for 2 weeks and then it's over at the pay-per-view. I'm like, what?
Nah.
No, you can't build off that. And I don't get how some people.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
If
you do it right.
Yeah, it depends. Because what you can do is you can have that quick whatever, and then you hold, you notch that moment, right? And then you revisit it as something else. Like that's what actually happened.
Yes, if you plant the seed with it. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's literally what happened between the guy I mentioned before and the current world champion. They fought last year, or actually it might be the year prior, but they fought right at a whatever event. It was like a regular taping, and what have you. And the guy beat the legend. It's like, oh shit, that's crazy. Okay, well, we didn't expect that, but okay. So then the legend's like, oh, I'm gonna get your ass one day, and the guy's like, nope, no, you're not. The guy became world champion. Legend still wants his ass, but so we actually revisited at our version of Melee Resolution. But we also had a future investment cashing, which is our what you call it, Money in the Bank from a schmuck who was also a former champion. So his goal was cashing in just because he wanted to be an asshole and maybe steal the title from both of them. And it wound up being an interesting story. And at the end of the day, they all agreed to it, and it was a fun match. And the guy who beat the legend still walked out beating the former champion and the legend. And he's still talking shit to this day. So good on him. So it's just a matter of, picking the right spots, picking the moments, and not being selfish. And it's very difficult in this day and age not to have people that aren't selfish.
100%.
Ugh. Anyway, moving right along. Okay, we talked about a little bit about WWE, but how do you feel about the current state of the WWE games? Because now 2K20, you're on 19, right? Or am I mistaken?
Yeah,
I feel like it's
19.
It doesn't look as weird as 20. So you're on 19 now. So how do you feel about like the drop between, you stuck basically used to be on 19 for about 3 years now?
Yeah.
How you feel about it?
I think that I still have stuff that I've not been able to do, and I'm on PC, so like it's sometimes a little controversial, but I don't do the controversial type of moddings where it's like
Thanos.
Yeah, you could buff them and like all that crazy shit. Like I'm more cosmetics.
Yeah.
Like different types of tables. Like if someone really wants to get hardcore, we're looking to implement like thumbtacks and stuff like that.
Ooh.
Yeah, like that's like cosmetic stuff, and like we have enough of a women's roster to make a women's roster for both shows, and they have plenty to choose from. But we also like to mix it up. So I have an intergender mod, so I can have male and female actually wrestle each other.
That's dope.
And yeah, and we have like a community night fight night called Brawl Out, like basically like Brawl for All in a sense, like darkened ring, but you spin the wheel, make the deal. If you pick your name in, and if it lands on you, you can fight anybody. So it's like, okay, like I want to fight this girl, and I'm a dude here. So, and then they can have that sort. It's non-canon, but that's the mod I like to use. Okay. That people like to have fun with it.
Sounds dope. That sounds dope. I just as of like maybe 2-3 weeks ago found access to a wheel, and I've been losing my mind ever since, son. That's how I did I have I'm currently running like a G1S tournament, and it was all this, the participants were all decided from the wheel, and it was that stream was like a legendary stream, and there's one guy who hates that wheel with a passion. He wants to burn it down.
This is what you're doing right now, right? With like the
Super
I see the posters. Yeah. I love that.
That is the what you call it, that all those people in there are because of the wheel, and it was just somehow it worked. My madness, worked. And also thank you for your compliments before.
I'm gonna cut in here for a second because I've said it before to Kirby and my mods in particular. I think I talk ad nauseum about you. Your production level in terms of the look, the video packaging, the pictures, the posters, if you will. It is almost like you're watching a show, and there's like some other like indie shows that are on TV that don't hold a candle to the stuff that you put on. It's insane, man. Like I watched your I almost said my Worldzy Mania.
You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, like your WrestleMania resolution, right?
Yeah.
That's what you said.
Yes, sir.
I watched that. That was the first pay-per-view of yours I actually watched because you went to Twitch, and I was like, oh, he's actually streaming on Twitch with this one. Cool. So I watched it from start to finish, just kind of lurked in the shadow, may have said hi. But dude, oh man, when I watch a good EFED, I get locked in like I would be if I'm watching, old school wrestling in the prime.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was just like, look at the way he's doing this. And you did this one where you're talking about the Super Cup opponents, and you had I was talking to my friend Chad about this, and again, much like Mex Kid Chad, one of my close dear friends, love him to death. you had like a little video package where it's like them doing a couple moves, maybe a taunt there. The video may be like 15, 20 seconds long.
Yeah.
But it has the little video package. The overlay is the character, and then it's like their stats, their accolades, etc. And I was like, this is the coolest shit I have ever seen, man. Like, look at the work that this guy puts into it behind that. Like, this is phenomenal. And there's current products today that don't even do what you do. And I'm talking not EFED, I'm talking like real legitimate IRL pro wrestling that wouldn't take the time to put in you do. So keep up what you're doing, because
thank you.
Holy shit, it's phenomenal, man.
There's a but to there. So while I will accept the accolades and I appreciate that, I'm very bad at taking compliments just because I don't know, I'm built that way. It's fine. But
I understand.
That is what you call it. That is also a community effort. Like when you see, depending on the video package, if it's super duper like glitzy, then I did it. If it's like a music video with with all the guys and gals mixing it up, that's courtesy of Jake Allen, because he usually does our intro packages. And I'll ask him, I'll be like, hey, we do, because me and him, Jake Allen's the guy who does the pay-per-view. That's the guy who sounds like professional while I'm like, yo, right in the breadbasket. That's the guy. I'm the breadbasket guy. He's the guy who's like, Junior Mauro Ronaldo. Shout out to Jake Allen. So I'll ask him when we're doing the pay-per-views, I'm like, look, are you going to have time to do an intro? If he says yes, then okay. If he says no, then I'll think of something I can cook up to give, to put in the front to present for the, for Twitch and for the community. The package on the breakdown stuff, that was a dude named Max Edwards, aka my intern Maxie. He just decided to do that. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna run it with it, because now I can run it every week for the next 5 weeks and give an update of what's happening with the people. And it works out. It's a community effort. That's the thing. See, you have a team now, but before you were doing it and you were burning yourself out. I have the benefit of finally accepting help and having people that I can actually trust. So I have my staff, which is the two GMs, Theo and Kent, and then I have Jake Allen, who's also one of the bookers for the Turmoil Show. Kent's the booker for the Riot Show. They help, and then the community itself, they'll submit video packages or they'll submit stuff. When it comes to posters, though, 90% of the time it's me. With 5% would be Valkyrie. If you see Valkyrie 2K, Valkyrie does some of the posters just at will, not even ask, like, hey, have a poster. Hey, cool. It's a community effort most of the time, because they just, I don't know. That's why I'm basically, there's a question I'm going to ask you, what motivates you, but I'll just tell you what motivates me, them. When they stop, I'll stop, and I have no issue stopping because I can do other things. But when they stop, because I've been at it for like 17 years, so I'm good. I've been through the peaks and the valleys. You're still young and you still have the exuberance, the piss and vinegar, the youth, the ambition, the burning fire in your soul, the energy to wake up at 6 a.m. or whatever and do all what you got to do, or 5 a.m. and do what you got to do. I used to take calls at 4:30 in the morning because my connection team, or actually my web team for the original sites, they were based in Deutschland. So I would take calls that early, wake up that early, and talk to them and figure out the website and whatnot, because that's when they were available. I can't do that now. I'm old and dusty. So use your youth and use your exuberance and use your whatever and make it how you got to make it, because you've been doing actually good. I checked out part of the Sunday stream, and you was racking them in. I was like, all right, cool. I was gonna actually ask you if you're doing full time, but I think you answered. So you are pretty much all full time, right? Or
yeah, I've always been full time, even prior to WWA.
Okay, good. There you go. See, so that's good. It's I don't really meet many people who can actually do it full time, so I know that it's a lot of work. Obviously, I only do it like the once on the Fridays, every Friday, and then maybe at the end of the month for the pay-per-view. So to do it every week or whatever, and to make it out, I applaud you, and that's not even trying to be bullshitty, but that's legitimately, I applaud you, and I applaud the effort you put in, because I've seen you want to give me props, that's great, but I've seen what you do, and it's pretty. I've seen some of them streams, like you be doing that, like what is it? You have the arena, and then you have the thing show up on the top. I'm like, I gotta figure out how to do that, because I like that a lot. You have that. I think Kirby did it at one point too.
Yeah, just record the ring for like 10 seconds, and then trim out the. Where it shows the instructions, like zoom in, zoom out, and then also show your currency.
Yeah.
Just record that 10 seconds, trim it out. Bingo, bango, bongo. It's right there.
I might use that joint, because I was like, that's really dope. Like, you put a lot of value into the production aspect of your stream, and it shows. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes on the stream. Like, I don't understand it, but I appreciate it. Like, because for me at Twitch, I think it's the advanced age where I can't really sit there. Like, I don't even want to sit there for my stuff. I just it's tough. Like, because by the time I goes on Twitch, I have seen it like twice because we did commentary over it, and then I just kind of sit there with the community. I'll be sipping my whiskey and wine. I'll be telling people in Discord sometimes to relax and settle down. Like someone like, hey, I want to join, and they're like, rah, rah, like, yo, shut up. Tell them how to join. Relax. Calm down. Calm down, because most people want to join. They're kind of silly, but anyway. Yeah. But back to you, man. I appreciate the amount of effort and work you put into your content, because it ain't easy being greasy like out there.
And it's very
they don't know
Yeah.
They don't know the work, bro. They don't understand the work, and they don't know the nuance of trying to get a perfect angle, or trying to like get something, or trying to edit the sound, try to remove echoes, try to make sure you edit sound. Like some people will see. The reason I give you guys like Kirby, Lee Boy, etc., props, because basically it's just for the most part y'all vision.
Yeah.
My thing is a collaborative effort, and as long as they're collaborating, I'm helping as well. Like, but if it's not, nah, I can't do it. I can't. I don't have the motivation to do that. Just just for me, nah.
Yeah,
I need them. So I give you guys extra credit, because it's a lot of work, and people don't really understand that. So I actually asked the question, like, you're a full-time streamer, obviously, but I'll put to the second question. How do you approach the work-life balance of being a full-time streamer and also being a full-time father?
Ooh, it's simple. Full-time fathers first.
Yeah.
And that will never change. And also full-time husband.
Yes.
It'll never change. I've ended, and this is and again, this sounds arrogant. I don't mean it to be, but this is like the one I related to, because there's people that have still asked me, why did you do it? We had a level 5, like 400% hype train. Like I had a lot of shit going, and I got a text from my wife saying that she was throwing up in the bathroom, getting sick. That timer had about 4.5 minutes left on it. I could have been greedy and just waited that out and just was like, yeah, keep on coming. But I stopped the stream right then and there, turned it off. Hype train died, and I left, because if she needs me, I'm there for her. If Carson, my daughter, needs me, I'm there for her. There's, as much as I love the WWA and I love all of the community, the fans, A, B, C, whatever, there's no one that I love more than my 2 girls. That's it. So if they need me, well, hey, go talk to Ahmad. I'll go talk to you guys, and I'll keep you guys updated. But if she needs me, I'm there, no question about it. So
see, like you mentioned hype train. I had a hype train one. I don't know what they are. I don't Twitch. I don't know shit about Twitch. I don't have, like, you would use what is it, emojis, emoticons? Whatever. Yeah. You have them. You're using them. I know them on Discord. I don't know them on Twitch. I haven't done nothing on my Twitch because I don't know how any of that works. A hype train happens and I get anxiety. Like, I don't know what this is. What's happening? Why is this happening? It's making me crazy. I'm confused now, because it's a train happening. Is it choo-choo? What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to type something? Am I supposed to let it happen? Is it supposed to wash over me? I don't know what's happening. I want to focus on this match. What the hell's happening? Relax. I don't get it. I don't know what it does. What is a hype train? Explain that to me.
It's literally just and it depends, because there's different levels. Like, you can make it really challenging, or you can make it super easy. Yeah, well, okay. It's at the end, it's just financial stuff. So it's like, if someone gives 5 subs, and then you have 3 other people do 100 bits or 200 bits or A, B, C, D, then it triggers the hype train. And basically, Twitch is trying to say, hey guys, keep supporting this content creator. You've got 5 minutes, and then they get limited edition emotes. You, and more importantly, as a content creator, you're supposed to turn it up to like an 11. Maybe you have a scene where you just dance or just be an idiot. Whatever it is to keep the train, the momentum, the hype going. But you have to level 5. Now, each level has a 5-minute timer on it. So you got to like... Christ. So if you're really like dedicated and want to go all out, that's great. But I've also had times where if a match is that great and someone triggered a hype train, I'm so appreciative every time I get a sub or a bit, even a 1 penny bit or a follow. I mean, anything is. I'm beyond appreciative. You have no idea how much you guys mean to me, living my dream. But if there's a match that damn good, I'm not going to stop it. I'm like, all right, thank you guys so much. And back to here, he kicks out at 2.5. Let's keep on going here. Yeah. So, yeah.
Like, I've had 2 hype trains, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening, but thank you for that. And I'm going back to the match. Like, I don't know what's happening. If I'm actually, because I do 2 types of streams. One of them, like for the Super S Cup, is essentially I'm there just being horrible at commentary, and then the main event is Jake and myself, so it sounds way nicer, like, because he's professional and I'm less of an idiot. But when it's like a pay-per-view, it's fully commentated, so this is happening, and I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. It's making me nervous. It's hitting my anxiety. Please make it go away. Please stop the train. Stop the train. I want to get off the train. I don't want the train. Please leave the train.
I need it to slow down.
I need this train to slow the hell down. It's making me crazy. I don't like it. Anyway, that's just me. So you basically explained the work-life balance. Let me see. Oh, you mentioned earlier, and it's funny because you also swole. So I know you work out a lot. So you kind of answered this already on Twitter, but yeah, I'm assuming you find working out therapeutic. Expound on that.
So I'm very competitive. I'm very much a sports junkie on top of that. And like I said at the top of the hour here, wrestling has always followed me. I was an amateur wrestler from freshman year of high. We didn't have middle school or anything like that.
Okay.
Freshman year, and then I was grateful enough to be good enough to not only be ranked, be the best in Illinois, but also go to wrestle collegiately. So once that died off from my last injury, I was like, man, my competitive drive is like, my motivation is still there, but I can't. If I take one more shot to the head, I'm a vegetable. Like, again,
great. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Jesus.
like last one. It's not only was a severe concussion, whatever level it is. I've had 5 that I know of. Yeah, but the last one put me on a what is it called? You got I almost said lifeline, but
no. I think I know what you're saying.
Helicopter. You get. You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
They helicopter your ass out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they took me out all the way to like Indianapolis because I had an injury, or I think, I don't know. It's somewhere in Indiana was where I was sent to.
Did it happen during competition?
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Someone I was beating big time, and I went up for a double leg, popped him up, and then rather than taking it like a man, he decides to grab the head like a DDT, and we're on the edge of the mat. So what I was good at was, and again, I don't know if you know much amateur wrestling, but it's all about, where your spot angles, but there's a big circle, and if you go out, you don't get the points.
Gotcha.
I was good at hitting the line, getting my feet back in the circle, getting the 2, shoving them out. It's out of bounds. So we're back to neutral, typically.
Gotcha.
And he pulled my head and torqued it over, and I hit the hardwood.
Ooh,
and that was it. Didn't know where I was, didn't know even who I was, and I couldn't tell you anything. So had a pinched nerve in my spinal column, severe concussion. I couldn't see the light literally without getting sick. So yeah, so I can't wrestle anymore.
Damn.
But my drive, that kid is like, I was very good at it. So like my drive, I guarantee you I would either be doing martial arts or something today.
Yeah.
So I had to figure out what it is I do. So
Lift weights?
Once was like, man, I was like, it's either do like jujitsu and just hopefully like nothing happens to like my head region and just bob and weave, which I still ponder to this day. Or, what I could do is I could start working out and become a power lifter, because not only is there the drive, because I'm not competing against someone else. I love competing against myself. Like, I love knowing that, hey, not only can I be the number 1 EFED on Twitch, you see what I did there? But what I love though is that I can look at myself 4 months ago and be like, all right, here is where I was, and here's where my workout potential is. Here's what I am now. I want to beat who I was 4 months ago, or whatever the date I set. So that to me is like, working out is so therapeutic. No one can bother me. I'm left alone. If I get a DM, it's set to ignore. I don't care how important it is unless it's my girls. If I have a mod like, hey, Worldzy, just letting you know I've got this going on, so-and-so wants this, doesn't matter to me. Like, I've got that 60 minutes, 45 minutes, depending on the time of day, to myself, listen to the music, and just get that drive, which I had in sports. Like, let it all out. Relax, take that deep breath, and then once I'm done throwing weights around, I can go back to being that lesser intense me, if you will.
So let me ask you this: when you're on the iron, are you angry and aggressive, trying to work out through all your problems?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the go-to.
I don't want. Yeah, like again, my wife, love her to death, but she gets super motivated working out with me, and I hate it. I hate it.
Leave me
like
alone.
We have a home gym, and she's like,
I seen
hey,
it. It's actually
Carson's
dope. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like, hey, Carson's gone. You want to go like work out for like 45 minutes? Like just do like I'll do the elliptical or something.
No.
And I was like, please, God, go away. And I love you, but go away. I hate it. Like, that is a time where it is to you, and especially you being a dad, you understand that you don't get a lot of that free time anymore like you used to. It's that, especially when your kid was younger. And for me, it's like streaming. There's people around me that are watching me. You know, if I'm playing games with the Discord, having meetings, there's people around me. But the moment I'm done with that, man, it's like you go see the girls, and I love it. But that time to myself in the weight room for 45, 60 minutes is, I don't want a single person looking at me, talking to me, anything. And if I do, I'm instantly pissed.
That's when you got a home gym.
Oh yeah. And I'm immediately pissed off, man. And I was like, oh my God, you don't understand like how much I just want to punch you in the nose right now. Like, why is this dude talking to me? That's why I really stopped public gyms, unless
that's the purpose.
Small.
That's the best thing about like, you either go in the morning or whatever. Let me not front like I'm hitting the fucking gym, because I'm not no more. I was before I hurt my back, so I haven't been since. I have whiskey instead, but again, I'm old and dusty. When I was in my youth, it's a different story. But in my youth, it was basically just quiet gyms or gyms away from everybody, because I have severe anxiety. I don't want to look or be bothered.
I'm
or
such
talk
an
to
introvert
nobody.
too. Yes.
Oh my God.
I hate
so
working
bad.
out in the afternoon. I am an old soul, I think. Like, I get along with the elderly perfect.
Not that
I do
elderly.
not get along to anyone that's like, I feel like anyone that's like 30s and above, or maybe even older.
I'm
like,
not that old, man.
Hey, I'm just saying we get along great. Anyone that's like in this like millennial or younger stage, I just don't feel like we click at all. So it's like
it's a weird energy. Like you don't have that weird energy. So that's good.
Oh yeah, I can work out, and in the morning hit my heavy deadlifts and all the other stuff. I'll throw that around. It may annoy them, but they won't say anything to me. But if I go in the afternoon, and that was the final time I've worked out, and in the afternoon, and be in a public gym. If I ever work in public, it's early. You'll have some like testosterone driven wannabe jerk off come to you and be like, "Sup, bro? Saw you just did about 400 on the bar there on deadlift. I used to be able to do that. Yeah. Hey, do you know I bench pressed 320 like 17 times? I'm like, I don't fucking care. Excuse me. Like, I don't care.
You can curse. Leave me alone. It's a free environment, Worldzy.
Yeah. Well, you can tell me how tits or angry that gets me. Yeah. It's like, so you're telling me that you come to the gym just to relax and just hang around with your friends? I'm here to get shit done, get the best workout I can, and then go back home, because I am such an introvert and a homebody. That's where I want to be. So
you finally calling with the with the Twitch and whatnot. Yeah, I haven't been to a gym in the longest time, but I don't know, man. I don't hate people, but I don't like people. My thing is, like, I want to be like Batman, in the sense that, like, I can help people, but you know the Batman did it. So like, oh my God, my life is way better. This is amazing, guy. Who do I have to thank? It's me, but I don't care. Leave me alone. I'm gonna go fly away now and help somebody else. That's how I prefer to do things. I don't know, man. I don't like people.
Same. I'm very much to myself, and I've got a small circle. Like, I can hang out with like my mods and a couple of my buddies, like, and we can play video games. I can chat with them all night long. But like, when I turn that red light on, man, like, you've seen it. Like, I could turn on the switch, flick it, and do the best I can do. But when that red light goes off, when that red light goes off, I am the total opposite character that you see on the screen. I am very much relaxed, don't really want to be bothered. I want to hang out with my girls, my family, my dogs, play video games with my little inner circle, if you will. And that's it. And I'm good, man. Like, I just am not that extroverted, like, want to go hang out with everybody or anybody. I'm just very much homebody, to myself. And like you said, you want to help people, put a smile on their faces, make their day, and then you want to go fly away back to your bat cave.
Yeah,
that's fine. That's what I would do. Yeah.
See, I have the weird thing where, like, the way I am now is the way I am in person, which is the way I am on stream. Like, I can't switch or be anything else. One of my friends who's actually in the know or whatever, He's like, you're allergic to success. I'm like, well, thank you for that. That hurt, but okay, sure.
Ow.
I mean, now he's a big muckety muck in the wrestle thing. He'll probably be on one day, and I'll confront him about that on the goddamn podcast. Like, you son of a bitch, you ruined everything. Anyway, but moving right along. What's my next question? Okay, we talked about the schedule. We talked about work-life balance. This one, I think you answered it, but we'll go through it. Why not? We have a lot of questions, so hopefully you got a little bit more time. I don't want to keep you.
I've got all the time for you, my friend.
Okay, good. Because I'm good for a minute. I'll start dying slowly towards the end because I'm old and dusty. Like, I keep bringing it up because I just can't help it because tomorrow I got work, but I got vacation coming up. Anyway, so what's the structure of WWA? This is a broad-ass question, so just bear with me. What's the structure of WWA or even your channel? Is it just you mainly? Obviously, you specified now you have a staff, but I know you hired some new people, and you mentioned the guy. You have a guy yesterday that does the commentary. What's his name? Because I don't remember off the top of my head. I had
Brian,
it and I forgot it.
Brian.
But he had like a call sign that sound very familiar. What was his call sign? Not call sign, but what
His character?
No, not the character. Like, he had like a secondary name that you called him.
Oh, Brian Haddock was his name. He has a character in the WWA though.
Oh, but I could have sworn you called him like something else or whatever.
Oh, so, Ronan, Sub-Zero Ronan is
there
his,
you
like,
go. That's the dude. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure because I remember I had it and I just it escaped me. So you have him. He's doing the commentary, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so break down kind of the hierarchy of the current, I guess, of the current WWA production wise and whatnot.
So this and like what he's saying here is I'm very recent and having like I've had a creative team for quite some time. I've had GMs since season 2. Well, it's just season 1 really, but the GMs didn't do as much booking. A couple did towards the end, but really season 2 is where that became like a full on role rather than just like a Teddy Long tag team match player.
Yeah.
And like they actually book the show on a Google Doc sheet each week.
Okay.
I have a creative team that we don't meet all the time, maybe like once a month, maybe once every 3 weeks. And then we discuss, hey, who needs a story? Because it's a quick DM for me to be like, hey, Worldzy's Jane Smith wants to do this angle here. I'm going to work on her with her. And I'm just letting you know, here's how she wants to go with it. Sounds good. Did you talk to her opponent? Is she cool with that? Yeah. Perfect. Great. Go about it. And that's it. But like to get on an actual phone call is about like once a month just to be like, hey, here's the future planning. Here's why I want it to be the main events moving forward. Have you talked to A, B, C, D? How do they feel? And go from there. I have a producer now. His name is Papa Paws. Shout out to him on Twitch. Go check him out. He's a huge mental health advocate. Such a good dude. But he's I'd say he's an old school wrestling fan. Like he loves Ultimo Dragon. That's its WCW shtick.
Sure.
But like he believes in me, and he's always had my back, whether he's been gone, wherever. So love him to death for it. But recently though, kind of have that stressful moment I was talking about where I'd had a pay-per-view and it just then people would DM you. I hit my final straw on that, and then I made a YouTube video, as a matter of fact, where I was like, dude, dude and dudettes, I can't do this anymore.
I need a break.
Yeah, like I'm gonna take a week off, and I usually don't take off a week off after pay-per-views because I'm like I'm good. Let's keep the train rolling. But man, it was I've learned better now. I've learned better now. Yeah,
I can tell you, I got plenty of what you call it. Here's my words of wisdom. I don't know the well, we'll talk about your schedule in a little bit because your schedule is like pretty much every other day except maybe Monday. But for me, I usually give myself a free week of pay-per-view so we can do commentary. So everyone has to have the match in prior to that week. Like for example, they'll have to have it in by Saturday, Sunday. If they get it in earlier, then I love them to death. If they get it in on time, then I hate them, but whatever. We'll spend that week producing the show, and in essence, basically just recording commentary. We'll usually be done by maybe Wednesday. By maybe Thursday, Friday, Jake Allen, the commentator dude, also I guess maybe a producer or whatever, he'll do the video, he'll put the commentary and the videos together, all right? And then Saturday, I'll, go over anything that needs to be fixed or whatever, and then I just make a VLC playlist, make sure everything, the I's are crossed and the T's are dotted. We have our pay-per-view, everyone has a good old time, we smile, we laugh, we hug, we cry, all that good stuff, and then I take the week off usually, especially if it's a big show, I'm taking the week off because screw that. I'm not putting my well-being for nobody, bruh. There was a point in time many years ago, to divert to me real quick. I'm sorry, Worldzy.
Trust me. You have no, like, again,
Yeah.
I completely understand and relate. So you go on ahead.
Bruh, like, see, now, like, we talk about it, how, like, if something's supposed to be at 7 or 6 or whatever, it's at 7 or 6, at worst 7:05, 6:05, whatever. There was a time I would do a show. When's the show? When it's done. That could be 8 in the morning of the show day. That could be the next day. We had a summer show that was done, that was finished late, so it happened on the first day of September. And I'm still embarrassed for that to this day. This was in 2010 or 2011. It still pisses me off that it happened in September. It was the first day of September. It was supposed to be a summer show because I, just burned out or whatever. So now I take my time. I ain't stressing myself. I ain't going crazy. But there was one pay-per-view in particular where I had just moved into an apartment, right? And I was moving in the last bit of whatever. I had internet, so I was putting the show together. I had one box left. Put the box in. There was something wrong with the door on the outside, and it cut the back of my leg, like bad. I was like, I'm not gonna go to the hospital because I have a show to finish. So I finished my hospital. I finished my show while there's a pool of blood on the side of my desk, just pulling up. I wrapped the sock around my thing. Went to the ER. They gave me the shot. They're like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I'm stupid," and then they sent my ass home. That's not to be like, "Oh, he's tough." It's like, I don't know. That was a different time, but in retrospect, those people didn't deserve that form of me. If this happened now, I would probably do it because these people actually deserve it because they're not bums. But yeah, I lost my train of thought, but I get it. But yeah, the thing is, you need
I've got that
breaks.
old school mentality like you. It's that
breaks.
Yes, it's hard for people to realize it. Like I had a flu. It's like there's an old YouTube VOD. I called it like the Worldzy Jordan flu show, like Michael Jordan's flu game. And I'm sitting there sneezing. Like when I go to the bathroom, I'm throwing up and then go back to commentary because God forbid if I missed one show, right? Oh, yeah. So I'm just sitting there, and it's not that they're going to be mad if I don't do it. It's in my head that I was like, man, I just keep going. So it's like, you look back at that now, I'm like, why did you do that?
Oh,
so there's no reason. They'll understand. Of course they will.
They will, but your head doesn't. And we had our pay-per-view, our last pay-per-view of the official season, Endgames. I don't know what the hell happened. I caught the snake AIDS or something. I don't know what it was, but my voice was all messed up. We wanted to record the first half, and that sound, we made mention to it. We said that I caught something and whatever, and then we gave it a couple of days because we had time because we were actually early. So the second half of the pay-per-view, I sounded semi-normal. So like, I don't know what he took. He shot himself in the ass with some horse tranquilizer or whatever, but he's way better now. But it's just, I don't know what it is, man. It's just like, it's just stupid man shit, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's so like what it was this was the holiday week, and this was Halloween. So I think that Worldzy Mania is my big one, and we don't do monthly pay-per-view. We do either bi-monthly or even longer, just depending on what I feel. I don't like throwaway pay-per-views. I like them to mean something.
Exactly.
So, Bound by Blood is our yearly Halloween pay-per-view, and I was like, man, I have to get this. So again, back to what you said, full-time father, full-time husband, that's first. I kid you not. I recorded everything, past tense. I recorded everything. I put all the productions in that as well, or the edits. So if I wanted a sweet angle or if I hopped in the controller, I would do that as well. Make the actual intro video package on top of it the best I could. So this was Friday. Our pay-per-view was Saturday, actually on Halloween. I did everything I could to put it together. All the while, once I got that done during the day, and especially with recording matches, they don't take like an hour to do. For those that like, it takes a while. So once you get all that and put it together, the moment I'm done, then go trick-or-treating with my daughter to go with her side of the family. Saturday morning's Halloween, October 31st. At 11 a.m., I did the pay-per-view, or 11 or noon, then finished. The moment I'm done, turned that off. I'm goddamn exhausted because I couldn't sleep, making sure that was done. Then go trick-or-treating with the family afterwards. Then come back to like 9 DMs, couple DMs if that, and people are just like, how come I lost? So here's what I'm thinking. And I was like, nope, I'm done, man. I'm done. Like, it's either I find help or I, like, again, very few know this, or I was quitting. And I don't quit, man. Like, if there was ever a time in my life, and I've been put in some bad holds and some bad predicaments in my amateur career, but I wouldn't quit. If there was a time where I was going to tap out, it was the day after Halloween.
And that, my friends, is what you call a dramatic cliffhanger. So join us next week for part 2 of my conversation with Worldzy, aka Evan, the proprietor of the WWA, the #1 EFED on Twitch. And if you're picking up what we're putting down, if you like what we're putting to the stage, if you're following us on Twitter, it's at Twitter at OCWFed. If you're listening on the YouTube, it's youtube.com, so that's OCWFedTV. On Instagram, it's OCWFed. And also, if you're listening via podcast, don't forget to subscribe or like and all that other good stuff, because hey, it helps, puts us up in the algorithm, and it lets us know. And if you'd like to be a guest on This Will Be Named Later, it's super duper simple. Hit me up on the Twitter machine, on the Google machine, and let's talk. Maybe we can make something happen. I don't know. That's how life works. If you're a wrestling content creator, hell, if you're a content creator and you got a story to tell, come on through. Twitter.com/OCWFed. All right. See you next week for part 2. Have a good evening. Ciao bella.